Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Because Football Podcast. This is your host, Andrew. We've got another Icarus Cup edition here. We're with Ann Song of Gritty FC. And welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Andrew. It's an honor to be here.
So I'm really excited for this conversation. But first of all, I know you're based in Philly today, but give us a little bit of background. And specifically, could you answer the question of what is your earliest soccer memory?
Oh, wow. My earliest soccer memory. So I grew up outside Cleveland, and I started playing soccer when I was 8. I believe I was in 3rd grade, and my best friend at the
Okay.
time was playing rec soccer. And she, during school would be talking about how fun it was. And so I went up to my parents, went up to my dad and was like, I want to play soccer. And I remember going to, I think it was indoor when we first started. And just like absolutely not having a clue what I was doing, but it was so fun. And the rest is history.
Awesome. For the indoor, was that like the converted hockey rink style, or was it like a basketball gym? I really want to get a sense of that.
Kind of like the converted hockey rink style, because we had walls. It was like, rounded in the corners. So.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, and I think that's an awesome like starting experience for you, because there's nothing like that chaos to having the walls and the boundaries, like especially as a kid, and just like it brings a whole nother level to it. I have so many fun memories of playing the indoor soccer back in the day. And
Yeah,
thanks so much to your friend for getting you up
I
for it, for getting
know.
you interested, and now here we are, years later, and you're part of Gritty FC. First of all, before we get into that story in Icarus, like what brought you to the Philadelphia area?
So, like I said, I grew up outside Cleveland, and actually went to medical school in Cleveland at the Cleveland Clinic, and then matched to residency here in Philly at the University of Pennsylvania. So that's what brought me here back in the summer of 2018, and I've been here ever since.
Love it. I'm from the Philly area originally, but I always love when people come here and really love it. And I think we're really underrated as far as, cities go across the country, and especially soccer culture and community too. Got such an
Totally.
awesome one here. Give us a little bit of this origin story of Gritty FC. That's a super Philly name in and of itself. So where's the name come from, and how did this team get its start?
6 years ago, it just so happened that in our residency program, which is the internal medicine residency program at Penn, there were a bunch of us who played soccer. And so we decided that we were going to start a rec team together, playing on Sundays. We've been playing on Sundays ever since. At certain points in the year, we see different tournaments pop up in Philly, and happened to come across the advertisement for Icarus. Looked super cool, and signed up and decided. I think we spent a while coming up with the name, but at the time we were residents who were a little bit past our prime, I would say. And I don't know, Gritty sort of spoke to us, I think, in a way that Gritty tends to speak to a lot of people here in Philly.
Yeah, seasoned, not passionate, just seasoned, right? And experienced is the word. And I was curious because I think it's what the Flyers mascot is, Gritty, right? And again, it comes
Yes.
from that, the Philly culture. So I was wondering if it was, chicken egg, which came first there, but you guys had the totally OG original name. What then put you guys into this Icarus Cup? You said different tournaments come up, but what about this one really made it stand out for you guys?
I think when we showed up the first day, year one, so I think they started in July 2021, and it was primarily, I think all the games were being played at Drexel that year. And so we showed up, and it was just like immediate flashback to the soccer tournaments of our youth. Like there were teams camped out with their like tents, because it was, it's a hot, sunny July day. And the vibes were just like incredible. Like everybody was super excited, and people were like watching the games when they weren't playing. And it was just like, incredibly nostalgic for, I think, a time that all of us really enjoyed about our youth, and loved to be sort of have an opportunity to sort of partake again as adults.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like I can totally attest to that because I've been to the last two Icarus Cups in Philly. I haven't even been a player. I just love to be around it. Like you said, the vibes and the feeling and everybody camped out and then they've got the jerseys on. It just adds this whole other element. So
Yeah.
that's so awesome because we've talked to, we've spoken with some other teams and they're like, as adults, like there's a lot of skepticism whenever you say "Hey, we're going to play multiple games in a day.
Yeah.
The first thing I'm thinking about is like what I'm going to need to do to feel like a person again the next day, right? So
Yeah.
like, what is it do you think that about the day itself of kind of packing everything in to the weekend really, but there's the one key day of playing on Saturday. How does that give you guys a different feeling about the team compared to your typical Sunday league?
Yeah. I mean, I think we over the last few years, we've been like training for it in a sense. Like we usually around this time, a few months out, we start thinking, all right, we should probably get in a little bit better shape because you got to play, up to 5, 6 games
Yep.
in
Just a
7
test.
yeah, in a weekend, or now I think the last 2 years just in mostly Saturday, um, and can't quite just do that like it's a regular old Sunday.
Yeah.
So so we almost like, at least I do. I think most of us view Icarus almost as like the event of the year. We might be playing year round, but it's something that has a little bit more meaning and gives us a little more juice to try to like prep for.
Yeah. That's awesome. It's kind of like your Champions League final, right? Or
Exactly.
the final match that everybody's leading up to. I heard that was it last year or recent years came home with a trophy, right? Let's see it.
That's right. Yeah. So last year, after 4 years, see our trophy here.
Let me
Um,
zoom in here. Yes.
Very much in line with Icarus Greek.
Incredible.
We've been in this tournament every year since it started. So last year was the fourth year, um, and our first year we were runners up, and it was like just crushing. I mean, as much as
Mm,
adult soccer can be crushing, but we
yeah.
were close, and
100%. Yep.
and it was like, dang, like we got to come back and train harder for next year, and then the next year, I think we played not well. I don't think we made it to like the knockout part of the tournament, and then the third year again didn't do well in the group stage. I think made it to the losers or bracket or something, and then finally last year, I don't know, some things fell into place, and we went all the way, and it was an incredible run. And I think one of the greatest soccer memories I think I'll ever have was our comeback in the final. So it was awesome.
Awesome. So cool. So cool. Yeah, you guys is your year, right? You had so close yet so far, year one, and then and coming back. I'm curious too with that, like it's funny you say, as crutching as a adult soccer match can be, but like I say this all the time, like we said, we're seasoned, but it doesn't really decrease the amount of like desire you want. You just want to be able to play your best, right? Like you want to be able to go out and to whatever the body will allow us to be, like and do at this point.
Yeah, I think we all get into the competitiveness within safe boundaries at our age, and
Sure.
try to do the best we can.
Take us into the halftime team talk in the final. What's going on there? You guys sound like you had gone down, maybe didn't start super strong.
You know, we were all really tired. I think this speaks to sort of it was what, the sixth, seventh game of the day.
Yeah,
Uh,
brutal heat last year too. Like I didn't
yeah,
play and I was dying. Like it was rough. So I salute you guys for sure.
yeah, yeah. And I think we had lost a couple people to injury slash like, people were working that night. So, we were down, I think on the women's side, especially, we had no subs. So we were just like, all right, let's survive. Like, you know, we did our best. I think there was a slight tone of maybe resignation that, closed Spinoza Gar again. And then it just, it turned around because I think maybe emblematic of our name, but I think we got a couple strokes of luck there, and I think we were down 2-0 at half, and then I think within like 3 minutes of regulation, just like a scrum right in front of their goal, scored one. That sort of rejuvenated us, right? We're like, oh, maybe we can do this. And then just like a series of fortunate events happened. I think it was like the last kick of regulation from our keeper, glances off like a piece of hair off of one of our strikers, goes into the bottom right
Just the
corner,
right
and now it's
deflection.
tied.
Yeah,
It was incredible. And so it's tied now, and we go into overtime. And now we're like really jazzed, right? Because like I think most of us were just like pretty tired at halftime, but at the break between regulation and the start of extra time, we were like, all right, we got this. Like let's do it. Momentum's on our side.
Yep.
And then within like the first minute of extra time, scored on a bit of a breakaway. And the rest, I mean, it was like the most jubilant celebration I think I can remember almost ever. Like it was pretty incredible.
Love that. Yeah. For the victory, but also probably just to be like done for the best, right?
Yes. I will say our feet were grateful that there was not more extra time.
And what division were you playing in? Was Crew FC?
Mixto Division 1.
Okay. Awesome.
So like the
awesome. So that's like
co-ed.
Yeah. Got it. Very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Is a repeat in the cards this year, do you think?
Ooh, I don't want to jinx it, but I can tell you that we are all going in with the hopes of defending our title.
Yep. Adding a little bit more oomph and motivation to those extra fitness runs during the week, right? Speaking of the victories, the trophies, obviously only one team per division gets to go home with a beautiful trophy. Can we see that one more time? Because I really want to just point that out and just speak to, like, what other soccer tournament in the world would you get a trophy like this for winning it? Incredible.
I agree. It's very unique, and it's been displayed proudly on my bookshelf for the entire last 9 months or so.
Incredible. And it's very unassuming. Like the funny thing with trophies is, I'm sure many of us, our parents probably have a cardboard box full of them somewhere in an attic or in the corner of the garage, never gets seen. But that one gets to be put on display and can be, really nice, seamless part of the aesthetics of your living room. It just fits in perfectly. Love it.
Yes, it was very thoughtful design.
And I think it speaks to kind of the attention to detail, and also that artistic eye and outside the box thinking of Icarus, because we talk about specific trophy per team like you guys got, but really the fact that every participating squad gets their own bespoke, like custom kit, one of a kind. That's pretty awesome. And I think you've got a little collection of them as well.
I do. Yeah. One from each of the last 4 years. The jerseys are incredible. I think every design is unique. Let me pull out the one. So this was ours from last year's run.
Love it. That's beautiful. With the sponsor on the front. Yep. The Sami Somi, the Georgian restaurant, Philly, shout out. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
It's just like a really cool design. I think of a few from years past. This was, I think, the third year, so the 2023.
Okay. Fresh. Yeah, very nice. Yeah. I pity anybody who's just listening to the podcast right now. Hopefully you're watching with us wherever you're finding your podcast, because we got the video edition and you're getting to see all these. Definitely add another level to it.
This one.
Oh, nice.
2022, and as you can see, our logo here.
Yep,
I think this is the
badge.
year that they decided to add logos if you wanted to. So my friend Brian ended up altering Gritty to add a soccer ball.
Awesome.
And then the first year was this one.
Okay, clean. Awesome.
Yeah.
Love to see the evolution of the kits, every year. Again, speaking to not only how the event has grown, but then the style of kits too. If you're interested in learning more about the design process, we're going to have a podcast with Jaden, one of the designers for Icarus too. So anybody listening, watching, make sure you check that one out as well. But yeah, I think the aesthetic piece, the jerseys, there's really no misses. You look at the 50, 60 something plus teams across not only the Philadelphia event, but Austin, Boston as well, like amazing kits. But the CASA team does an amazing job organizing everything, handling the logistics too. Like, how is it? Because I think the other aspect that people think about of an adult tournament is like, do I need one more thing on my calendar? Right? Like, I've got enough going on. Can we just take the weekend off? So how is it from like kind of that organizing perspective, from scheduling, from the in-day experience? Could you just talk about some of that piece away from necessarily the community and culture itself, but how smoothly the whole operations run?
Yeah, I've been so impressed with how smoothly the operation is run. I think they have done a really good job of setting it up so that, like, obviously there's registration deadlines, but then there's like jersey selection day, which I was caught off guard the first few years that people really like these jerseys like fly off, that they're like sold
I
out, or,
heard.
you
Yeah.
got to like select them within a
Hmm.
couple hours of when they open, or else you won't get, whatever your top choices are. And that's all like done months in advance. And then I want to say like a couple months or a month or so before the tournament day, like they've started hosting the team's captains just to have like an info session, see if there are any questions
Oh, awesome.
that people have. Yeah, logistics, things like that, jersey pickup, schedules, format, all of that. It's been pretty fun. I think last year when I tuned in, there are teams who come in from Michigan, from Texas, like
Hmm.
sort of travel a long way to play in this tournament, which
Yeah.
um, we were surprised by the first year because we were, walking by and people were saying they came from Seattle or something. I was like, dang, that's like a 5-6 hour flight for a soccer tournament. But I think that speaks to, I mean, an awesome job marketing from Icarus's side and CASA's side, but also like it's a high quality event that people keep wanting to come back to because it's extremely well organized.
Like you're saying, the combination of the kits, the fact that they do fly off so quickly. I'm curious how you guys handle that within your team. Is it like popping them into the group chat and picking it out, or you just kind of like try to take a deep breath and channel what you think everybody would pick? What's your process?
Yeah, it's evolved over the years. I think, like I said, my friend Brian was organizing the first couple of years, and so I think he and I have mostly been texting back the selection options that are available because of how quickly they're snatched up. I think it's hard to have like a
Hmm.
full democratic process. So I
Yeah. Yeah.
usually go, I'll ask Brian, or my brother Andrew is on the team, and so text like, here are the options that are remaining, and the ones that make sense for us. We try to be pretty strategic because it is always a very hot, sunny July summer day, and so we've tried to
Yeah.
go with lighter colors and help this out a little bit, at least from like an overheating standpoint. But yeah, that's sort of how we go through the jersey selection.
I think I want to go back a little bit to when you talked about the first impressions of Icarus Cup and kind of like the vibe, and I think the community piece is really important. I know that that's a big value for CASA and what they do in their local leagues in Philly and in the Boston area, and other tournaments they run in Austin too. I think that community, that like inclusivity, the fact there are different divisions that cater to a lot of different playing levels as well. Could you talk a little bit about kind of, there's obviously the competitive piece, but then that wider feeling of community and sharing in that, specifically, in the Philly area?
CASA is an incredible organization. I think they very much live their values in how they host tournaments and their typical leagues also throughout the year. I think, like you said, that they're incredibly inclusive. They have, they have the open divisions, the mixto or co-ed divisions, and then the women's plus divisions. And I think everybody just feels welcome regardless of, their level of play. There's all sorts of divisions across each of those three buckets, and people are just like happy to play the sport that we love. I think I was particularly struck by how much CASA values community. I think a couple years ago they decided there was a tragic loss. Brian Palangi, I believe is his name. He had died, and was an incredible soccer player and part of the CASA community. And they decided to host like a one-day tournament in his honor and to support his family. And everybody sort of showed up for that, for a day of soccer. That was fun. And then also sort of to support a good cause. And I think that sort of speaks to CASA and sort of who they are and how they operate.
Yeah, no, 100%. Again, like whether it's just running the events, but I think the way that they do it is important too, and really helps to kind of create this tight-knit community and add to that really rich soccer culture that Philadelphia has. I feel fortunate to be able to help tell the story of Icarus Cup and what CASA and Icarus FC are doing, but also share amazing stories like yours and Gritty FC and what it means to people and really giving everybody healthy and fun outlets to get together. But since you've been such a great guest here, the way that we wrap up like each of our podcast episodes, Anne, is could you please complete the sentence, because football?
Because football is the best sport in the world and the best way to reach across communities and make connections and share in the beautiful game.
Love that comprehensive answer. I can agree. I'm sure many people listening as well. And it's awesome that we have Icarus Cup and that community to be able to celebrate and share that together. Is July in Philly, but also Austin and Boston, as we said. So everybody listening, thanks for listening. And hopefully you were watching, because there's some amazing kits. I'm really excited to see, the 5th edition, what Gritty FC has got this year. I'm sure it's a banger. I'm sure it's just going to get better and better, just like the performance. We're hoping for a repeat for the squad, yeah. and we'll be there and we'll be supporting you guys and hope you have a great event.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Andrew.
It's a pleasure, and thank you so much. And again, everybody listening and watching, see you guys. Make sure you check out the rest of the series for the Icarus Cup Because Football Podcast collaboration. And eventually for the event itself, we're going to have some amazing stories and videos and more content coming out to just document and tell more stories about this amazing footy event in Philadelphia. So see you guys there on the next one. Peace.